Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alexis Garcia, and I am a professor in Management Information Systems at Coventry University. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here with you today. I will be somehow adding to the debate that we've been having today and the work that took place yesterday here when you had the drill, the cybersecurity simulation. And I want to bring to your attention the case of a cybersecurity incident, a major cyber attack that took place in the... Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Yes, that took place in the... Thank you. In the aluminum industry a few years ago. Just a few words about what I do. I work at the Center for Business in Society at Coventry University. From the center, we work with industry and with the public and voluntary sectors, and we're trying to help them move beyond the traditional, the business as usual activities into the digital transformation of their activities so that they remain resilient, or they become digitally resilient as they adopt the new technologies. And in that sense, we are trying to go beyond the concept of cybersecurity to look at digital resilience. So instead of looking purely at the security of the information technology infrastructure, we are trying to build the ability within the organization and the sectors in general to have a holistic view of the cybersecurity challenges and protect not only the infrastructure, the information technology infrastructure, but also the business in general, that they remain able to operate even if they are dealing with a cybersecurity incident. One of the sectors that we have been working with for the last few years now is the aluminum manufacturing industry. Aluminum, we all know, is a very unique metal, and it has many applications, from transport to packaging to electronics. And there is a huge value chain around the global value chain around the aluminum manufacturing, extraction, manufacturing, and work in general with aluminum products. So in the UK, there is an association of aluminum organizations that is called ALFED, the Aluminium Federation. We have been working with them to support their efforts to adopt the new technologies and deal with cybersecurity. They have been, when I say adoption of the new technologies, I refer to the digital transformation of the sector, and this is a term that we have heard in the last couple of days here quite a few times, because more and more organizations and sectors in general are adopting new and the latest technologies and embedding this into their operations and their strategy, and not only within the organization, but in the supply chain. And aluminum in particular, there are many examples of how they have been working with robotics, artificial intelligence, and much more in embedding this into the strategy and operations. But this comes with a number of challenges, in particular cybersecurity challenges. And there is evidence that the third most attacked sector in the UK is manufacturing. Nearly half of the companies in the UK that responded to a survey a few years ago by Make UK agreed that they had been a victim to a cyber attack. And half of them believe, or almost half of them believe, that they are not ready to deal with the issue. So the statistics are quite stark, and they show that there is a lot of work to do when it comes to adopting technologies. It's not just bringing them into the system, into the digital infrastructure of the organization, but we need to make it in a way, in a strategic manner, so that they remain secure, because every new software, hardware, or technology in general will bring with it a new, will open new avenues for cyber attacks. So the case in question, the case that I want to talk to you, is about the cyber attack in Norsk Hydro. This is a truly global organization doing aluminum and energy in general. The headquarters are in Norway, and they have around 34,000 employees in 40 countries with a very diverse workforce. So they not only culturally diverse, but also diverse in terms of expertise. So you have people working in offices, you have employees working in the shop floor, manufacturing, you have employees working with the customers, selling the products, doing research, management. And they have more than 30,000 customers all around the world. And they come from construction, automotive, the likes of Tesla and others, and furniture, packaging. So there is a huge supply chain behind the company in question here, Norsk Hydro. And they are listed in the stock exchange, so there are certain rules and regulations that they have to comply with, particularly when there is something that may affect the value, like a major cyber attack. Now, on the 19th of March of 2019, that was only 4 years ago, at 4 a.m., one of the employees in Norsk Hydro found that they had been somehow subject to a cyber incident. They found this, which I don't know if you will be able to read, but in essence, they were selling, they had a note saying, "Greetings, your systems have been compromised. We have your data. We can prove it. Do not shut down your system. Do not move your data. Do nothing. Just contact us, and we will tell you how much you have to pay." That was 4 o'clock in the morning, the day after they had had the first CEO, a woman, the first woman as a CEO in the history. They had had a huge celebration in the organization. Everyone was in a very positive mood, and the following day at 4 a.m., someone gets a call, the head of communication, to say, "Hey, I think we have been a victim to a cyber attack." What did they do? Well, within 2 hours, and this is what makes Norsk Hydro one of the most interesting cases of dealing with a cyber incident that we can find in the literature today. Within 2 hours, the company was able to mobilize the cybersecurity response team. 6 a.m., they were all in a crisis room in the company deciding what to do from there. And you can imagine a global company having to deal with a cyber attack. We heard earlier the case of a city council, how difficult it is to plan when you have realized that your data has been compromised. What do you do? How do you take it from there? Well, they made 2 key decisions at the time. They decided to not pay any ransom, so they decided that they would deal with it and not pay. And they also decided to be absolutely transparent and open about their communication on what was happening at any point in time from that moment onwards. So, and I tell you a little bit more about the communication strategy, because that's the key in what they did here. In terms of the technology, despite the advice of not shutting down any system or keeping it all as it was, they made bold decision to shut down all the systems and work only with the mobile devices of the staff that were involved in dealing with the crisis. And that meant 23,000 computers around the world and 3,000 servers. Immediately, just before 9 o'clock, before the employees came to office, they put some handwritten posters in most locations, just to let everyone know, we are dealing with a cyber attack. Please go back home and we'll let you know what to do in due course. So in most places, they switched to manual operation where it was possible, but they had to shut down several systems and production systems around the world. Significant, big plants in the US, for example, they had to shut them down, and that was the beginning of the financial impact of the cyber attack. They called on the experts, not only the colleagues that were the employees of the company, but they were able to attract to the company former employees, people who had retired, people who had done internships with them, people who knew the systems and how they operated. They called them in and they used that expertise to continue to operate manually as they could and ship the orders that they had and continue working. The corporate emergency team met, it was continually working throughout the following days and weeks, and in the picture there, you have the head of communication, the woman on the left, and two of the senior Hydro communicating to the press what was going on. So they let all the workforce know what was going on, and they agreed to use their Facebook page and issue at least, I think, 3 updates per day, letting the world know what was going on in the company and how they were dealing with it. They called the police, they called the media into the company, so they had a media room where they kept everyone informed of what they were doing and how. Now, the important thing in all this, and we can talk about this for hours, the response, is that this has been one of the most transparent and effective ways of dealing with a major cyber attack that has been documented or that is in the public domain that we can learn from. And one of the key challenges with a cyber attack is that you have a significant financial impact, and that comes straight away after the attack. You can see that within 2 weeks they were able to report 50 million pounds in losses due to having to work manually. But the reputational impact that comes with a cyber attack, with reporting a cyber attack, is as important as the financial one. And normally, the reputational impact can lead to an SME, for example, never recovering from it, or big companies losing significant part of the value. In the case of Norsk Hydro, they came out of the cyber incident with the same value in the stock exchange. So they were perceived as transparent, as the suppliers understood what was going on and supported them in moving, in dealing with a cyber incident. And that was important. So there are some lessons that we can learn here from this experience. First of all, anticipation is important. So we know we can be, any organization can be a victim to a cyber incident, cyber attack. But really, we need to do more than that. We need to not be ready in case it happens. We need to be ready for when it happens. And to do that, we have to actively prepare and do things, not only from the technical perspective, but we need to do things from the human, organizational, legal dimensions of the cyber security domain. Cyber resilience is not just cyber. Cyber resilience means more than having access to the technology, but also alternative means to operating when your technology is not ready. Cyber resilience means being able to attract into your organization the key knowledge that you need to continue to work. It means being able to communicate in a way that is clear, that everyone knows what the risks are, but that you're dealing with them. It takes time. Recovery, once you've been recovered and you've been a victim to a cyber attack, it takes a long time to recover. And Rob was saying earlier that they're still dealing with a cyber incident in the Hackney Council. The same applies here. But 2 weeks after the attack, the company was able to resume operations in many of their plants, meet their commitments with many of their customers, and continue to work using paper version of the orders that they had received and alternative ways of dealing with the orders. Again, it won't happen by mistake. You have to prepare. You have to do exercises like the one that we saw yesterday in this room and do it regularly. You have to involve the whole of the management board in understanding what the role is, what the responsibilities are when a cyber incident is detected. It won't happen if they're caught by surprise and they have never seen it. They will perform as if they have never seen it. They will not know what to do. Knowledge networks, it's important, and it's important to be able to tap into your existing networks as a company, keep a good relationship with your former employees, because they can be the ones who solve an issue when it comes if the workforce is not, your current workforce is not able to do that. And there is a huge cost associated to it, but it's not just the cost of the orders that were not being shipped. There is a lot more than that. There is a reputational cost. There are costs in many areas, loss of customers, many areas that in this case it was interesting that they didn't see because of the way they dealt with the incident. Now, I'm conscious of time, so just wanted to spend a couple of minutes just discussing this. It's not just the aluminum sector. We are talking about critical infrastructures. In general, any critical infrastructure, or for that matter, any organization that relies on the use of technologies for at least part of their operations is susceptible to a cyber attack. But in particular, the critical infrastructure organizations that we have been discussing in this conference. Why? Because the threat landscape where the critical infrastructure organizations operate is particularly challenging. There are more actors, not just individual, but also organized. Cybersecurity is a business. There is a business ecosystem around cybersecurity when the cyber criminals exchange information, exchange data about incidents and threats and vulnerabilities, and they are able to exploit it. It's easy to use cyber attacks that already exist and adapt it to the new conditions of a particular organization, and they're just freely available on their systems, and they can use it and exploit your infrastructure. And it's not just IT infrastructures. Critical infrastructure organizations or critical infrastructure sectors in general, there is a huge overlap between the operational and the information technologies. And any incident in the digital domain is easily replicated in the physical domain. And by having access to traffic lights, to data about traffic lights, they can cause an accident, and so on. And the same or similar about the vulnerabilities of the critical infrastructure sectors. They're very complex. If you think of energy, for example, you have, within the same sector, you have wind, solar, oil and gas, and data about consumers, about organizations, so it's a very complex ecosystem or data ecosystem, and it's all very interrelated. So by gaining access to one of your suppliers, a cyber criminal can easily have access to your own infrastructure. There are several efforts currently in terms of adopting the technologies, and in particular, SMEs are at disadvantage when it comes to, because of the lack of resources, the limited resources, and the infrastructure. So they become a relatively easier target for cybercrime. And again, in terms of data about your customers, personal data, if we think about patients' records in healthcare or individuals' records on energy companies, they represent a growing risk for cyber incident, for cybercrime. I think this is what I wanted to share with you in summary, and we will have more time for questions a little bit later, I believe, and I just want to leave you with a positive message. Resilience is challenging, but activities like these that we are doing, the drill that you run today, the discussions that we're having, the exchange of information between individuals and organizations with a common interest, make it possible. So I think we are doing the right things at organizational, sector, and even national level with activities like this. So thank you very much.